Hello, and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sherry Ann.
So let's get grounded and start with our pest check-in. Sherry Ann, would you like to go first?
Yes, okay. So physically, I'm a 3.75. Emotionally, I am a 3. Spirit, 4. Hope, 4.3. And my word is human.
Okay. Physically, I am a 3.8. Emotionally, I'm 3.8. Spiritually, 3.5. And my hope is a 4.25. And my word is through. Not around, but through. Okay. So today we're going to talk about kind of the larger perspective of the Cancer Journey Institute and the difference between going on a professional journey with us and a personal journey with us, and also how they intertwine.
Yes. Well, because when people come to CJI, initially they think of us as I'm going there to learn how to be a cancer journey coach. Fabulous. Love that. That is one of the core things that we do, uniquely, specially, expertly. And we've called it a side effect before, or mostly, that the personal journey that someone goes through when they're with us is life-changing. And so our philosophy is that everything that you would ever take a client through, you have to go through it yourself so that you know what it feels like. So not only are you learning to be the coach, you're being the client for your buddy trainees. And so everybody feels and experiences the concepts, the frameworks, the tools, all of that. And when they do, there is this incredible personal journey that they get to be on. For some, it is the first time they're really confronting and processing their cancer experience. And for others, it's like, this continuum, because it's not done. Life isn't done. We're continuing to be better yous, better us's. And so the tools are, as I say, any good tool is a good tool for life. And our tools are really great tools for life. We specifically focus on those on the cancer journey or experience, but they work all the time because life doesn't stop when somebody's on a cancer journey.
Yeah. Yeah. So much of our work, like you said, people come here for the professional growth, for the professional development of their existing or budding or potential coaching practice. But they're learning to become a professional at personal growth too. Like they're learning to take people on this journey and be with them. So to not have any experience of your own being with that personal growth, because that is the meat of the content, is that personal growth that you're offering to other people. It might be a harsh word, but I definitely say this, that it can be hypocritical to expect to go on this professional journey without working on your own personal growth journey along the way. Because if you're unwilling to face certain things, then you can't be there for your client when they are as well. And like you said, like going through that professional journey, we get to practice and learn, and it just becomes, it's more of a side effect, the personal growth part, because we just touch on it. We get to practice it. Sometimes we're part of a demo, and so that's when it starts to come up for us. And I actually think that it's that experiential shift of oh, this is what it feels like, this is what I'm offering, that gets people to constantly say yes, right? There's always some resistance at the beginning of the unknown. I mean, we're all worried about the unknown. So starting something new that you've never experienced in this way before can be really daunting to even start to approach. So once you start doing it, not just the coaching itself, but like feeling the impact of the work, people are like, yes, I so get that. That, along with this like really, really loving cohort of trainees that you're with leaders who really understand what you're going through. And a lot of times, even though we've been through similar experiences, we don't have the same words. And so when you're in this class, we start to develop this language with one another that we know exactly what we're saying. And so it really solidifies all of the experiences we've had in the past and together. So that way we can kind of walk along this solid ground together.
Oh, I love that you talked about the words because it is a language, not a new language, but maybe a new understanding of words. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm processing. Well, what does that mean? Oh yeah, I'm holding space. What does that mean? I see you. What does that mean? And that is one of the biggest things that everybody wants. Us, the leaders, the trainees, and most of all the clients. It's like I want to be able to see myself in a way that I just can't get on my own. And
Mhm.
so one of the words, um, and okay, so let me just put my hand up. I too have a coach. I think everybody in the world should have one because it's hard to navigate this thing called life. And I was just talking to him today, and he was being my mirror. Well, if we don't have a mirror, how do we know what we're even projecting or saying or really experiencing? So it was so gratifying to say, here's what's been going on, here's what's swirling around in my mind, and just kind of like laying it out on the table and then getting this mirror back of, oh, so what you're saying is this, this, and this. I'm also noticing um, this about your body language. Or this is the way you said this, or this is how you acted when you said that. And it's like, what?
Mhm.
I couldn't do that on my own or for myself.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'd say, like, while going through our training, right, our certification fundamentals, it gives you that glimpse into what it feels like to be a client. And I think it honestly reinforces that whole, like, the side effect being personal growth is because there's so much more personal growth that you can continue to do that does elevate your coaching business, to be a coach who is actively in their growth journey and actually like practicing what they preach makes you an even stronger coach because then we're all constantly on this journey, right? It would be silly to think, kind of like life. It'd be silly to think that it's like, okay, I'm grown and I've done it. Like you have all of this space ahead of you, and there's also so much that happens in life. Like there are just events and interactions, big and small, that they keep you on your toes on your journey. You don't know in what way you're really going to react until something like that happens. And so to acknowledge that you're constantly on a journey, constantly growing, a work in progress, I think that is a better stance to be in as a professional coach than to be like, actually, I have all the answers and I know how to answer everything and I am perfect for this job and I've already done all of my healing, so you should trust me. It's like, no, you should trust someone who's still on their journey, still seeking help, even if it's not necessarily a coach, right? Someone who's in therapy or talks to a counselor or is part of like some sort of community where they can continue talking about their experience and know that it's not a landing place we're trying to get to. We will absolutely put flags and note when we've made big accomplishments and celebrate those, and note moments even that weren't so great. We don't want to show up that way anymore, but those are just locations along the route. They're not the journey.
Right, right. And I think it's fine that people come with the understanding that they want to do this work,
Hmm.
that they want to have the tools, and really it's the experience. Because we've had a cancer experience in one way or the other. Everybody who comes either has been a caregiver or they're a survivor, or so they've actually had experience being a patient, or they're a caregiver, a professional caregiver, meaning they're in the medical field. So it's like I'm with this population. So everybody's had some kind of cancer experience, ongoing or not. And yet there is so much to learn about the journey,
Yeah.
and being able to take your not, I don't want to say take your time, like pull it apart, but in a way where I'm here to learn professionally. So we're taking on the frameworks and the tools. And I love that because it makes us so much more resourceful. But then something happens in life and you go, oh, I know what to do with that. I don't have to just sit here and swirl or wander around and go, oh my God, what do I do? It's like, I have a framework for that. Let me work with that. And there are times where you can use the tools and do a little bit of self coaching, but it's always great to be able to lean into maybe a past group participant. Like they're your group, they're your folks that you can always lean on. I mean, we have people who are eternal friends, so they lean on each other. Or you can just come back to us and say, hey, you know what? I think I need a coach to help me get over this hump, to have that person be that mirror. I'm bringing that up again, so that you can see where the personal growth comes in along with the professional.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really big community of support, and we want to continue growing that community and acknowledging that, like, it does, similar, like I was saying before, with the journey. Once certification ends, it's not like everything stopped and like you're perfect and now you like go do whatever you want to. We do want people at the end of certification to feel strong in their abilities to go off and make this their profession and make this their career with support from us as well. But what's big for us is that we're continuing that professional support and that growth into what the next stage is for them as they start to move into what their own business looks like. But also, what's still in there is continued personal growth. And being able to do it for yourself and be witness, but also bear witness to other people going through their own personal and professional growth. Because like you said, we don't teach without experiencing. Like, we have to experience what it's like to really know what our clients may or may not be going through. I mean, I would say one of the most difficult things we do is learn to be with hard emotions and how to
Hmm.
be with the constricting emotions, and not just our own. Well, yes, our own. We have to if anyone's going to be with your hard emotion, it's got to be you. So we may as well practice what that feels like now and show ourselves a little grace, because they exist, they're going to come up. We can't live a life of avoidance. And so if we can learn to be there for ourselves when we're going through constricting emotions, then we can then be there for other people who are going through them, instead of what is kind of innate to us, which is to like shift away from it, right? And try to throw some positivity on there and be like, let's get that out of the room, and that feels gloomy, let's avoid it, which feels really easy to do. But um that's not the path to overcoming what that is, because that constructing emotion has a message. So um if we attempt to live in avoidance of it, we do a disservice for ourselves. But even if we're, as coaches, if we can't be with our own, we can't be with our clients. And going through a cancer experience, there is a wealth of constricting emotions that come up, and constricting and expanding at the same time, right? And when you're in that swirl of, you're like, I do appreciate things, but I'm also angry about things, like I don't know what to do with all of that. That's when your coach needs to be able to be with you. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things that I think is hardest to practice for coaches sometimes, is being with the tough emotions. So the more we can touch back on being with their own in their own personal growth journey, the better their professional journey is. So they really feed on one another constantly, though we look at them somewhat separately. But in this industry specifically, it's really important to have both.
Yeah. Yeah. And to know that you're in a place that is continual. I mean, how many times have we signed up for a program and what you might think it was good or not, it ends. It's like if it's not good, you're like, okay, you only have 2 more weeks. Um, and if it is good, you're like, oh, I don't want it to end. And I love that we've created the association that allows for continual professional and personal growth because they really do go hand in hand. I love that you were talking about the emotions because we are emotional beings. And just being able to allow ourselves to feel that sometimes we're stuck and we can't, or we're stuck because we're pushing it down and we don't want to. I know there's so many times where it's like, I just want to cry, but I can't seem to get it started. So it almost feels like this constipation to know that, oh, all right, I have tools to help me do that, but I also have people to help me. I mean, I could see somebody going on to the the community of the association going, all right, I need help. I need something to start that cry engine, just so that I can have that release. Because it's not only just tears, it's like the release of the actual chemical that your body needs is in those tears, and it changes with whatever the situation is, which I think is brilliant about our bodies. But
Hmm.
if I could go in and say, someone give me a movie or a song. I mean, it used to be Hallmark commercials when I was little, but they don't exist anymore. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like that.
And even some of the tools we say with our coaches is after the powerful listening part comes powerful questions. And powerful questions are um they're just that, they're powerful. And so when you're like, what's gonna make me cry? Yes, you can listen to music or watch a movie, and those, they'll definitely open some floodgates for you. But if you really want to get to it, it's the powerful questions. And it's the powerful question. It's not exactly what the question is exactly, but there is the intent of the coach behind it. The fact that someone really cares enough to ask the hard question, or the one that's really just gonna like trigger you, right? And sometimes that's what you need as the client or the person who really needs to cry. You just need to be triggered, which I know we put
Right.
a lot of connotations on that word, because it feels icky, right? Because it elicits a reaction. And because we assume that a trigger is always bad. It does not have to be a bad thing, especially when it's a powerful question and it comes from like this very clear, loving, caring, understanding, safe space where you know this person who asked the question to you, like, what's really coming up for you, like what's really there, like I feel
Mm-hmm.
a hold in your energy, what is that? And like that can let someone's floodgates come down, because as the coach, you really want to know you're only there in service of them, and no matter what comes out, they know that you'll hold it. If they're like start screaming profanities at you for asking that question, your coach can handle that and be like, okay, so how do we feel now that that's out there? Like, I understand that that was a triggering moment for you. I'm not gonna take it personally because it's not on me, but it's something that's true for you. And there are things like that that can come out that really like, I mean, that kind of goes to my word at the beginning, right? It's not going around, it's going through, it's experiencing it, it's having whatever that needs to be come out, and your coach gets to hold that space for you. And so I think sometimes the powerful question is so much more than the question itself, right? Because it's really about the coach holding it for you. Like if someone like your boss that you don't trust or something asks you that question, like, you're probably gonna like quick, will be like, it's nothing, right? Because that's not where you go. And it doesn't feel like it's coming, not that it's not authentic, but maybe you don't have that relationship with your boss. You don't want to explode all over them, right? Like, that's fair. Like, we don't have to put that in that space. But after your conversation, you can go call your coach from the bathroom or your car or something and be like, I just need to talk. I have to like let this go and I need to be heard. And I think that's one of
Mm-hmm.
the biggest parts about having a triggering moment, where you need to react, but having someone that's safe that isn't going to hold all of that experience against you. Because
Right.
sometimes that's why we don't emote, is because we're scared that that's going to be held against us because
Right.
it has been in the past or something.
No, exactly. And that is a big part of our training. Emotional, we can go with whatever the word is right now, which is emotional intelligence. intelligence, but it's just being able to be with the emotions that are coming up, and we're not taught that. Let me just say that again. We're not taught that. So what our coaches go through is tremendous emotional training for themselves so that whatever they're feeling, they can feel, which means that they can be with that emotion with their client. So the more, I'm going to use the word that we have, agile with being with my emotions and am willing to be with them and allowing of them, having a relationship with them, the more we can be for our clients. So that's one of those professional training things. That's also a personal training thing that serves both situations. Myself, I become more available to whatever the world has to provide, good and bad and wonderful and ugly.
Hmm.
And I also am of so much more service to my client who wasn't trained either on how to be with emotions. So, hey, I get to be their teacher in a way, but also this container that allows them to process it so that they're not holding it in. Because if you don't have a container that you feel safe in to release whatever, I love that you were talking about anger. So anger and rage, then you're still always holding it somewhere.
Yeah.
And having that place where, like you said, in the car or as you know, a safe space outside of the environment that triggered you. Oh, we get to let release it and then clean it out, and then we have another emotion, but probably not that one.
Yeah.
You have
Because it
another one, and it, yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I think all of this is also just to say that, like, this is the way that the training has to be for the profession that we hold. Because to ignore any personal growth at all means not doing this work. Like this, if you want a 1 + 1 = kind of formula, that's not the kind of work that we do because we see everyone, well, similar experience, there is a through line of cancer for all of us that we've experienced and with the population that we serve, but um everyone's completely unique, right? Like, oh my god, so many times people say, oh, you know the story, I got diagnosed, my family like held me through it, I'm fine now. Anyways, it's like, whoa, okay, yes, wait, but like, we know, I can assume that you've had a lot of similar experiences to the people in this room or anywhere in the world who've had a cancer, but what is unique about yours? There's a unique story here. Like, I want to know what that is for you, because even though we may have like high level all experienced cancer, we all experience it in a different way in our own bodies. The emotions that come up, the accessibility of everything, how, involved we were, what our treatment was, how our doctors treated us, if we had a care team to be there to support us. Like, that entire thing is going to be different. Even how you feel about each of those things is going to be completely different. So, what we teach and what we learn through our own curriculum and through the constant reevaluating and assessing and teasing away at all of our curriculum is that we get to work with each individual. Like, maybe they did have a care team that loved them and they were like, it was too much, I didn't want them there. But someone else didn't have anyone to support them and they had to be there for themselves. Those two individuals are going to be completely different clients. So we can't give anyone a formula of like, do this and they'll get here. Maybe they will. We'll give you tools to hopefully get them there, but we know that everyone's going to react differently. And so we have to be really, really flexible and understanding and curious. That's a big thing for us. We have to be really curious in this profession to do it well, because otherwise, we're not in service of whoever's showing up for us.
Well, I love what you're saying because it speaks to how we do the training that we do. I mean, it is a small, intimate group that we're really clear we need to have. We can't do a group of 100 at the same time. It's not, you're not going to get the same level, even 50. you're not going to get the same level of understanding, of assimilation, of you're not going to come out to be the coaches that we have in these small intimate groups. We're hearing the stories of every single one and how they're experiencing it, and we not bounce around. We get to coach the different individuals. So now I'm learning how to be with this person and their story and their experience. And then I have this curriculum, this wealth of tools in my toolkit. And it's like, oh, in this scenario, I'm going to bring out this one, and we're going to see how this one plays out. But for this person, again, similar cancer experiences, but not similar. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that big container, but then the nuances of that. And so I get to know that I can be with different people in different situations, and my confidence goes way up because it's like, all right, I know that this works. One of the things that I love to hear the trainees say the most as they're going through the training is trust the process, because they've seen it. They've
Mm-hmm.
seen it work in all the different scenarios, and they're like, okay, what was I thinking? I was thinking, yeah, I knew it all. And it's like, trust the process. Just keep going through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So my takeaway is that um, this curriculum, even though it feels a little more like, yes, we have set tools and um, different concepts and stuff like that that feel more concrete and allow anyone who's going through our program to feel much more heard because now we have that common language. It's gone through rounds and rounds and rounds of people, and like these are not like lecture groups like Sherry said, like they are small groups that we hold because every single person gets acknowledged regardless of how much they do and don't want to share. Like you can share more emotion than you share about the actual story and still be quite vulnerable with the group. And so we get, you know, different levels of vulnerability, different levels of, I mean, we have different socioeconomic backgrounds, different races, different sexes, like different age groups. Like we've watched this go through all different kinds of people, um all different orientation, like so many different people, and we watch it time and time again, allow people to feel seen, heard, and gotten truly, and even grow compassion for themselves and those around them. Like we watch them grow, and the thing we hear more than anything is that actually like they got more out of our programs than they ever anticipated, because when they jump in they're like, I had cancer, helped my mom through cancer, and I don't want anyone else to go through it and struggle the same way I did. That is my goal through this program. And what they get is they get a lot of release from the experience that brought them there, and also a lot of clarity about how they want to move forward, and real tools that they like actively implement like right away into the practice we do, the practice for their profession, but also the practice with their life. You know, it's
Hmm.
really all encompassing with continued support, and we love to watch our coaches continuously on their journeys and find their ahas and things like that. So that is my takeaway, long takeaway. And my test. Physically, I am a 3.8. Emotionally, I'm a 4.25. Spiritually, I'm a 4. And my hope is a 4.5. And my word is trust.
My takeaway is that you can't separate the personal from the professional. Not if you want to really do the best job that you can. And I have said this to my radiation oncologist. If you have not gone through, even just walking through the process that you put us through, you don't know what I'm experiencing. And I'm really referring to that mask that they put on that gets clicked onto the board. I mean, that is the most terrifying experience personally for me. Um, and so I really learned from that. It's like, I'm not going to put anybody through what I myself am not willing to do. So if I'm willing to do it, then I can say, I'm going to take you through this. Um, it's not hypocritical. It is actually, what's the word for it? Help me. Inclusive, like loving. It's,
My word was hypocritical, so I can't. I know. I want a softer word for it, but
yeah,
there's it's something about that like if you go, I go. It's like
yeah.
in
It feels like,
partnership.
yes, care or something. Um, my pesh. So physically for, emotionally for, spirit 4.4, hope 4.5, and my word is proud. I'm really proud of what we created. And it is always a joy to take a new group through our certification program because I know that they're going to turn out, no, they're going to end on the other side like delighted. I mean, I just like it's graduation, but it doesn't end. It's like, oh, and then I get continual touch points and continual learning. So I'm just really proud of what
Yeah.
we create.
And we respect whatever journey you're on. It doesn't even have to be that same timeline as everyone else. Like whatever timeline you need, especially if you ask for it, like let's do it, especially if you know exactly what you want. So sorry, I can't help myself from trying to keep going. Well, thank you for joining us today. We will be back next week. We'll see you then.
Have a lovely rest of your day, and remember, you're more powerful than you realize.